Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this weekly CA Connect session. And for today's session, we have a very prominent speaker, CA Punit Mehta. He has been associated with Tally for last 20 years, and he is part of a lot of prominent associations, and he has helped a lot of numerous organizations to streamline their operations, MIS, etc. And he's a founder member, and I think currently treasurer of Chartered Accountant Federation, right, sir?
Yes.
Sir, I think, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so he doesn't need a lot of, much of the introduction because he's a known face on this particular platform. So with that, I would like to invite CA Punit Mehta for today's session on centralized and decentralized accounting using TallyPrime.
Yeah.
Sir, over to you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay bhai. And it is indeed my pleasure to come once again on Tally Solutions platform and discuss some concepts of accounting and how it impacts our everyday working. So, friends, centralized versus decentralized accounting is what the option, or rather, what is the today's working is. Okay, today's topic is what would you choose? Whether would you choose centralized or would you choose decentralized? And in the era of after this pandemic, that is after this COVID, we have realized that yes, earlier there were very few choices, less choices, and we did not have much of a choice, but we opted mostly for decentralized accounting. Okay, but now we have a choice. Okay, and what are those choices and why we should choose centralized accounting over decentralized? But still, in some factors, decentralized is also very important. So I would be discussing on those aspects and more so related to the accounting concepts that are prevalent in factors and benefits of both centralized as well as decentralized accounting. Okay, and after few presentation slides, we would be looking at live Tally AWS, TallyPrime powered by AWS. And then we would also look at few case study which can help in case you are maintaining, multiple companies together. Okay, so let me start and check whether all of us are awake. Yes, at 3-4. And let me start my presentation.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
I just wanted to announce that if you have any queries, you please post it into Q&A, and I'll be here to answer them. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yep. 1 second.
And probably at the end of the session, if time permits, we will also, would love to hear some Q&A from the participants. So that will, if time permits, we will surely try to do that.
Yes.
Perfect, sir.
Yep. Is the presentation visible?
Yes.
Centralized versus decentralized accounting in TallyPrime. Okay. So let me take you to the today's agenda. What is the concept? From where does it arrive, and what are the factors which are important? Benefits of both. Okay. Features for both the types. Options. When we talk of centralized accounting, okay, what are the options available for us as a users? Okay, I'm not going to talk from technical perspective, but from the user's perspective. Little bit of technical, but mostly from the user's perspective, what are the options which are available? And finally, if time permits, there's a case study and Q&A on TallyPrime. Okay, so this also would include live demonstration or showcase of TallyPrime on powered by AWS solution, which will be done by Tally team senior team member is Sanjay Bhai. Okay, so let us now move forward. Okay, so when we look at concept, let me make it absolutely simple. When we talk of centralized and decentralized accounting, from centralized accounting perspective, where books of accounts are located at one place, okay, be it physical, be it virtual, or whatever it is. So when your TallyPrime books of accounts are at one place, they may have you may have separate books of accounts for your separate branches. That is altogether a different working. But as such, in your organizational chart, when you have books of accounts at one place, okay, one place, it could be virtual, and we will see what are the options available in the virtual format, or it could be physical. Okay, so and for decentralized, when we have separate licenses and data we have different location. Okay, so when we talk of decentralized, we see that okay, there are multiple branches, and at each place we have separate books of accounts, and then they send the backup to a central team on a regular basis, or they synchronize their data on a regular basis to a central team. Okay, these are the options that we all had it before. I think this COVID, or before solution which is bought by TallyPrime has it. Okay, so what factors are important when we talk of which type of accounting we should be selecting? Okay, to me, availability of internet is one of the prime reason or choice that I may have it. Okay, why I should be having a separate license and database at different locations. So if my internet at a remote location of Dharampur or some other place, where there are very less amount of internet, so yes, there I might have a problem. Okay, but in case I have a regular access to internet, maybe 4G, and in times to come 5G is also going to be available, so I would not be selecting a distributed environment, which we will see. So internet availability is a key and first choice, first option that we must look at before we choose anything. Cost of hardwares and softwares. Okay, when we look at the entire cost gamut, the branches where we might have decentralized accounting, we will have to go for different hardwares. So 5 or 6 or 10 different machines, whatever number of branches we have, and suppose we have this centralized, so we may have to look at one centralized server cost. Okay, whatever it might come on a rental basis like TallyPrime powered by AWS, or you might invest on your own. Backup facility, which is involved in this backup. What are the backup facility? Sanjay, is my voice clear? Because there's a comment in the chat.
No, absolutely, it is absolutely clear.
Okay, right.
Kaushik bhai, you have to check the earpiece at your end. Check the speaker's mic at your end. Absolutely clear.
Okay. I will hide my video also, so there is lesser amount of bytes getting transferred. Okay, so backup facility, what kind of backup facility do we have? Okay, so that is one choice. This is something which is utmost important, that whether you have for branches, whether you have a separate bank account or a single bank account. So that is also very much important, because if you are having a separate bank accounts, then yes, decentralized is a good option. Suppose you've got 5 or 10 branches and you've got bank accounts for each of them separately. So yes, it helps in giving the bank reconciliation and maintaining all those things very simply. But if you have a common bank account, then distributed environment doesn't work, because then how would you do a reconciliation? Okay. Separate books for stocks. Okay, so that is again, if you want to keep a secured stock book, then decentralized accounting should be good. So this is one factor that I thought should be helpful. Security of information, whether it would be related to the payrolls of other branches, or whether it is related to the stocks which are available, not available for the other branches. So this is something that is one of the important factors we will discuss in detail as we move along. Okay. And what is the amount of frequency of statutory obligation? Now, statutory obligation, by that I mean is the compliances, like TDS, the GST, which everybody is aware, but certain industry has got a few more compliances, like we've worked in education industry. So there they have to give every time and again some sort of report, student wise and otherwise report to the government departments. So caste wise report and other things. So for some other industry, there could be different kinds of statutory obligations which might come. So that is also again a very important factor that impacts the choice of whether you would like to go for centralized or decentralized accounting. Okay. Okay. Friends, when we look at decentralized accounting in TallyPrime, okay, so what benefits that I can see is from a distributed environment perspective, there is a very good amount of security, because मेरे stock का rate मुझे भी मालूम है और किसी को नहीं मालूम है. Okay, for that branch manager can think of that, and based on that he can make good decisions for whatever orders that he might have it in his hands. Okay, and what I have also observed when we have a decentralized accounting is that the accountants who are appointed at that locations, they had multiple roles. So your accountant will be a store manager also, or maybe debt collections also he would do it. Not only doing accounting but doing more than that. So you have that kind of benefit when we are looking at a decentralized environment. Okay, so each when I say decentralized environment, as I discussed earlier, the Tally database is completely different on all the location, and the licenses are different, as well as the database is different. Okay, so these are the benefits which I could see. There could be few others also. I'm sure some of you may add on that. Okay. Okay. When you look at centralized accounting, what I have seen or observed in my exposure to different kinds of industry, the per company employee cost from accountant's perspective gets reduced a lot. Okay. Of course, the software and the hardware cost I have already discussed is important, but this employee cost, those who are managing the data and the accounting and the statutory obligations of that particular companies, is reduced significantly. I've seen 3 or 4 accountants handling around 30 to 40 different group companies. Now, how could they handle? Is because everything was centralized and they were able to manage a lot of working, So that kind of benefits we have it when we are looking at a centralized accounting perspective. We do have an higher implementation rules, means that so whenever we are operating in a software, so we have master creation rules, we have certain architecture to be followed in chart of accounts or in voucher types, the types of entries which is to be required. So then these are much easier followed at a centralized level rather than at a decentralized level. So to my view, the implementation becomes very quick, very easy, and as well as to get it followed up. Sometimes we've seen that okay, मैंने एक company में अगर हमने decentralized रखा है तो we keep one company and we give that, because this is a standard company which all of the branches have to follow. they follow in the initial, but जैसे employee change हो गए वहां पे, so all the rules go haywire. So here when we are looking at a centralized team, it is much more easier for the users to work on that. Okay, as such, lesser technical requirements we will see when we look at, when Sanjay Bhai shows us the concept of AWS, how fantastic this particular working has come, and that very less amount of technical requirements is required. Okay, so when we look at maybe the in-house server or this thing, the technical requirements are reduced significantly as compared to the time when we have multiple branches and hardwares at those branches. So the technical requirements person goes up at that point of time. Okay, and the most important thing, it is secured and backed up at any point of time. Okay, so this is one feature which I really love it, and the security or the ease it gives me, or the peace of mind it gives me when my data is backed up at all times is really wonderful. Okay, I know there are multiple solutions for available for this, but what the way in which this particular option has come in TallyPrime AWS, it is really wonderful, and I'm sure Sanjay Bhai would show some glimpse of that, how the backups are done and what kind of working is done. Okay, so when we look at centralized accounting, friends, what are the choices that do we have? Of course, one I have already spoken. Let us interact a bit and then move to the next screen. क्या मालूम है आपको कौन से choices है? What the user knows. We are 115 of us, 112 of us. Okay. Backup, Samir bhai, yes, it is available in this thing. But when we look at types of centralized accounting, what kind of choices do we have? कैसे कैसे रख सकते हैं आप सेंट्रलाइज्ड, आप आपके अकाउंटिंग को कैसे कर सकते हो? टैली प्राइम जहां पे आपका इंस्टॉल्ड है, ओके, व्हाट आर द चॉइसेस? ओके, वन इज रिमोट एक्सेस या थ्रू विंडोज रिमोट एक्सेस सर्वर. Somebody uses AnyDesk as well as Mr. Rao at one place, but branch wise, absolutely. But how would the people get connected? The branch wise team, आपकी समीर भाई मल्टीपल जगह पे बैकअप है. ओके, गूगल क्लाउड बैकअप. नाउ दैट इज नॉट एन अकाउंटिंग सोल्यूशन, माय डियर फ्रेंड अंकित. गूगल क्लाउड बैकअप इज नॉट एन अकाउंटिंग सोल्यूशन. आपको बैकअप दे सकता है, खाली आपका डेटा एक जगह पे सेंट्रली स्टोर कर सकता है. But when we look at accounting, where I want to collaborate with each one, or some of my team members, Google Cloud doesn't help. Okay, what other options do we have? Because ये क्या आप लोग के माइंड में जो भी मतलब क्वेरीज है, if I am able to address those and work around those, it would be really helpful. And संजय भाई उस हिसाब से फिर क्या डेमो वगैरह भी प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं कि what is the difference? Host data on OneDrive and share folder. Yes, that is one solution, but that again is your license is not installed. Okay, license आपका multiple जगह पे installed है, and data को अगर आप host कर रहे हैं, so at one point of time one person can only be using it, and that is very risky. I have seen people using that. It's not that people doesn't use that, but थोड़ा सा risky environment रहता है उसमें. स्वप्नेश भाई.
Samir is saying allowing remote access for the centralized accounting.
Yeah, allow remote access to centralized accounting. Very true. But centralized accounting में लोगों से connect कैसे करेंगे? Okay. So let me share my thought.
Yeah.
One is the VPN services. Okay. जो आप remote accounting, remote access बोल रहे हैं. So better than remote access, you can do is virtual. Yes, because by cloud-based server, I'm going to come on that. ओके, वर्चुअल प्राइवेट नेटवर्क. आप आपके ही सर्वर को VPN कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. देयर आर मल्टीपल चॉइसेस अवेलेबल. मे बी TS Plus इज अवेलेबल सॉर्ट ऑफ, और मे बी यू कैन डू अ VPN विथ योर ओन नेटवर्क. ओके, एक आप घर पे या दो आपके मल्टीपल ब्रांचेस है और एक आपका सेंट्रल लोकेशन है, तो आप उन तीनों को VPN के थ्रू कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. एंड उसके अंदर फिर आपको एक रिमोट एक्सेस के लाइसेंस लेने पड़ते हैं, कैल लाइसेंस लेने पड़ते हैं, तो वो तीनों जगह से आप कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं। बट इसमें फायदा ये है कि आपका डेटा आपके पास ही है, इट इज नॉट गोइंग ऑन एनी थर्ड पार्टी क्लाउड। ओके, so that is that VPN services is one option which few people are doing it. Raja says cloud-based services are the best. Yes, I'm coming on that. Third-party cloud-based services. Now, there are two choices amongst these third-party cloud-based services, as per my view. The third-party cloud-based services may what will happen is that there are two choices, as I told. Is one is the Windows-based third-party cloud-based app ले लीजिए. There are multiple people who are offering this kind of part of their server IP address दे देते हैं आपको specific, and उसके हिसाब से आपको working करते हैं. So there are third-party cloud-based services which are Windows-based. So there you can install Tally and ask your team members to get connected on that. आपका लाइसेंस जो आपके लोकल मशीन में आपको वहां पे शिफ्ट करना है. ओके, वहां पे बेनिफिट ये है कि विंडोज बेस्ड रहता है, तो यू कैन सेव योर वर्ड, एक्सेल एंड अदर फाइल्स आल्सो. ओके, सो देयर आल्सो you have some amount of efficiency coming in. Okay, third party windows based cloud server. Okay, and to my mind the third option and the most powerful option is this TallyPrime powered by AWS. ये एक बार आप देख लीजिए, एंड आपको चाहिए वर्किंग करके इसमें क्या होता है कि the way in which this has been designed कि it is Linux based, but Linux based में certain additional functionality TallyPrime has been provided. So Raja is saying why Tally cannot provide cloud services. The cloud services are different business altogether. Currently, it has been outsourced or whatever it is. It has been designed in along with the AWS also. Yeah. So Swapnesh Bhai says AWS is the best. We have not seen completely, Swapnesh Bhai. I am sure certain new features that you might not have seen. आज संजय भाई अपने को दिखाएंगे and how that is useful. Okay. And after that we will have some question answers, and also in case अगर हम लोगों को multiple companies साथ में रखनी है, okay, suppose 10 or 15 different companies साथ में रखनी है, I can show you a simple case studies where we can work in an environment where ledger created in one company is created in multiple companies together, or transaction of one company is posted in another company. Of course, these are solutions designed along with that, but that case study will come a little later. And now I would require or I would request Sanjay Bhai to share his screen, okay, and
Yes.
work on that. And also I will answer some of the questions that I have missed on the chat.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Sanjay Bhai, please, आपका machine.
So I hope my screen is visible.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is actually the journey of Tally products. So we started with PFA3X. Actually, the company started way back in 1986. There, at that point in time, it was release 1, version 1. And then we have come till the era of TallyPrime, and we have recently collaborated with one of the world's leader for the cloud services, that is Amazon Web Services. And so we are now providing TallyPrime, which is basically hosted on the public cloud, which is provided by AWS. So I will come to that. So I just wanted to, if you have any queries at any point in time, you can post it into Q&A. Okay, so it will be easy for us to have a record of the questions that are coming in. Perfect. Thank you, Swapnesh. All right. So TallyPrime, which has got multiple options, go to, switch to, e-way bill connected, save view, etc. Tally reports and browser, exception reports, and a lot of other things. So now I'll just take one small, comparison of the synchronizations versus the using public cloud. So you must have heard about synchronization facility. So synchronization is actually the first thing is that it is you have to have two Tally licenses here, okay, at in two distant locations, and then it is occasionally connected, or maybe it is connected at the end of the day, or maybe at the 2 days time or a week's time, then sharing it. At some places, we have examples that clients are using it live basis, and synchronizations have some of the challenges. Challenges, I would not say. It is just the knowledge or the awareness. That is, you don't have to delete any transactions once it is synchronized because it has one GUID. So those things are there, and accidentally, if any transactions are deleted, synchronizations gives the some error, some issues. Whereas in public cloud, you have a centralized data which is always connected, and there is a higher infrastructure which is called HA, high availability, and data is available on the real time. It is like you want to have certain reports or maybe outstanding at right now, you can just log in and you can have a look at it. Okay, some of the issues that public cloud has is the lack of support. Okay, or there's sometimes we have seen that there is a unscheduled downtime which affects the operations. Okay, and some of these other issues like prices which are different from different service provider. Okay, and implementation also gives a challenge because there might be some issues which can arise because of the deployment from the cloud service provider, and from the Tally side there can be some clashes of the opinions. So these are the some issues which are there in the public cloud. Whereas TallyPrime powered by AWS, we have made it very reliable. Reliable in sense, two important technology companies, technology giants, Tally and Amazon Web Services have collaborated, and they have given the solution. It is very flexible. I will showcase you that. Economical, obviously, because our customers come from SME background, so we have to make it economical. Trust me, this is the the cheapest solution available in this particular domain. The thing that we are giving along with TallyPrime AWS is the cheapest in the world. It's not only in India, but it is cheapest in the world. And yes, it is processor agnostic. It can run even on a 32-bit application or a 64-bit application. All right, so with that, I will showcase you that how is it working. So what I'm going to do is, there is an, it's called virtual computer connection. It's basically a virtual desktop application which runs on Windows. So you get this application, you have to have your TallyNet ID, your TallyNet password, and you get one secured pin after you get this machine provision. So I'm mentioning my email address here. Okay, and I've logged in. So once I've connected, it is taking me to a desktop. Okay, so on that desktop, I've already switched on my Tally. So on the desktop, Tally is pre-installed. You don't have to install Tally. Tally is already there. You just have to put your data. You just have to put your license. Okay. So in that way, it becomes one dedicated machine which is provided to your organization. Here, what I'm doing is I'm just opening my data. I'm selecting a company. I press enter. So if you see, might be hearing the sound of my keyboard. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to make a small entry. I'll just make cash to, let's say if I have conveyance, I'll just create one ledger called conveyance indirect expenses. So you might be hearing the sound of my keyboard. So it is actually I'm working on cloud, but the effectiveness is as if that I'm working it on my local machine. Okay, I've just created one entry and quit yes or no, I can say quit. I can, once my work is over, I can just simply shut it down or maybe log off from here. Okay, so it requires two authentication. One is through the TallyNet server and another through the through the Amazon Web Services. Okay, so this is one way of looking at it. Then I was talking about the flexibility. So what I'm doing is I'm just log out. Okay, and I'll minimize this. What I'm going to do is I'm opening up Google Chrome, okay, and I can access this solution through a web browser as well. So I'll just open ssp.elcom.digital, SSP, that is self-service portal.elcom.digital. I click on it. So it's the behavior of Google Chrome. It retains your username and password. So for this particular case, I have allowed Google to retain my security pin rather than my password. You can also choose that if you want to store your password, you can say that. I'll say login. And here it shows my company and the account's name is basically the name of the owner or the organization name. What is the plan? So this is a TallyPrime server performance. Performance means 8 user. Okay, so this machine comes with the pre-installed capacity of user. It's not that we are selling 1 user or 2 user or 5 user. It comes with a pre-installed capacity of user. Okay, so that we will see. And now here what I'm doing is there is an action button. I'm just clicking on open virtual computer. See, what I'm trying to show is that how easy it is, for a user to open the Tally through a cloud-based system. Okay, it should not be very complicated for a user, to run their Tally if it is even on cloud. Okay, so that is what we have thought through and provided this solution. So as you can see here, this has the similar lookalike desktop what we saw earlier. Here say I am opening my TallyPrime again. Okay, and so here there's a shortcut of Google Chrome F11. Generally F11 we use in Tally for company features, but here in F11 we'll use it for a full screen. So you can use that full screen option, which is used in Google Chrome, and you can simply work it as if you're working on your local machine. And here as well, and here as well, you are accessing your Tally as if it is on a local machine. So I press F11 just to, yeah. So this is how we are accessing TallyPrime on AWS. Now I was talking about the flexibility. Okay, so flexibility is that it's basically a dedicated virtual machine. Okay, which comes with pre-installed capacity of users. So if you have any user, so you can add certain users. So for example, it comes in the flexibility of 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 users. So if you have number of users, based on that, you can go for the machines. Okay. So if you want, if you have only 5 users, then we would recommend you to go for a machine which can handle all your 5 users at a time. So we have the option, either you go for 4 user machine or you go for 8 user. So provided the situation, and then there are other factors as well, how you basically work on TallyPrime. Sometimes people use multiple instances of TallyPrime, यानी कि एक टैली चालू किया, उसको मिनिमाइज किया और दूसरा एक और टैली चालू किया. So if you are working in that fashion, so then probably you'll have to increase the RAM of your virtual machine as well. So in that case also, you may require to go for a higher machine or a higher version of machine. Based on your requirement, basically, we suggest that which machine you have to go for. Okay, so that is one flexibility. Another flexibility is about creating the number of users. Okay, so you can create any number of users into the system, and you can activate as and when they are legitimate to go for active. For example, agar koi chartered accountant hai, he comes for a customer at, let's say, after a quarter or maybe after a year end, they are so they are asking for the data backup. So instead of sending the data backup, हम अपने जो भी client है उनको ये बोल सकते हैं कि sir, create me, if you are using TallyPrime powered by AWS, create me as a user. I'll be able to access all your data here itself. Say for example, I go into manage user, okay, and this is basically a 8 user machine, okay, but you can see I have created 22 user, but at a time I can keep active only 8. Okay, so I have created 22 users here. So like that, there is no restriction. So even if it is a 2 user machine, you can create multiple users, but based on the system access requirement, you can make them active and inactive. Okay, so that is a very important flexibility, because many a times we want to add few users, we want to remove few users, because people come and people go into the organization. So basis that, we have to always connect with the cloud service provider to remove this particular user, add this particular user. So now that all would be now that all can be done on a few click of button. Okay, so that's very, very simple that we have done here. Secondly, managing your backup. Okay, so there was one query that how do you manage the backup here? So here what we have done is, whenever this particular machine is restarting in the morning, in the afternoon, first time during the day, or whenever it is restarting. Okay, so for example, if I shut it down from here, there is a shutdown option given. If I shut down from here right now and I open it again, okay, so system will take a backup. It will take a backup in this particular space. So there is a 20 GB backup space available for my machine. You can increase it if you want, and in that it will take the backup. Okay, so it has taken a backup of my 11 previous instances. Okay, so at any point in time, you can just come here and you can download your backup on your local machine. It is very simple. Just click on download backup and it will download the backup on your local machine with the encryption. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने बस डाउनलोड कर दिया और वो आप यूज कर लेंगे ओपन करके. Okay, because it will have a password. It will have a password. I'll just show you that as well. Here you can see this is password protected. Okay, so that password can be given only by the admin. So he will just click on this and then it will be visible to the admin. Okay, and he can share it to the user if it is required. Okay, if it is not required, he can restrict the user not to go for the backup. Okay, and thirdly, very important is the updating your TallyPrime. So for example, you have any, so let's say we are at release 2.1 and down the line we are expecting release 3 in maybe a month or two. So at that point in time, it's very simple. You just have to click on update TallyPrime and you have to click on the that particular instance. It will be available here. So last two releases are available here, release 2.0 and release 2.1 and release 2.0.1. And my current machine is running on TallyPrime release 2.1. Since this is a Tally server machine, it's showing TallyPrime server release 2.1, but it is actually TallyPrime release 2.1 only. So this is how we can access our TallyPrime on AWS cloud. Okay, so there was a query by somebody that when Tally would be available on cloud. So now Tally is available on cloud, you can access it. So
there was a query on iOS also. Can I run it through iOS?
Yes, absolutely. So the browser mode, using browser mode, you can access it through iOS. What is the costing of having Tally on AWS? Sir, for that you'll have to connect the Tally partner. Sir, at same two user is using the Prime and entering an invoice, multiple time invoice, no problem occurred. No problem occurred. What is the solution? I didn't get the question. So I am trying to rephrase this question for Vikasji. At same time, two user is using TallyPrime and entering an invoice. So there is
invoice number problem. It is not no, it is number.
Okay, it is invoice number problem. So
yeah,
I think whoever saves it first, so that number would be taken care. And there is a solution that auto manual voucher numbering. You can use that facility for multi-user licenses.
Yeah, automatic numbering, manual override.
Yes.
I think Raja, you can get back to Sanjay's credential also. He will give you the list of partners in Hyderabad who can provide you this kind of working.
Perfect. And maybe if you can just share your contact details, I'll forward it to my team in Hyderabad. They will get in touch with you. So I guess my screen was not blank at any point in time. I think it's
yes. Actually, I also ignored that question because I'm sure there must be some problem with that only, their machine, because I was able to see your screen very clearly.
So there's one question: can this be operated through mobile as well, sir? Actually, you can access only. I would not suggest you to access it through mobile. It is not recommended because you want to work on Tally. Tally has so many reports and things which gets queued actually on accessing while mobile.
For mobile, I would strongly recommend use Tally's remote TRIB, Tally's remote reports in browser. They are fantastic, and yes, you cannot enter the data, but once get connected with that, I mean, you would not leave it, and your data would be accessible to you at any point of time on your mobile. So TRIB is something that I would recommend very, very strongly.
So AWS, as I believe, is not economical. One-time hosting rupees 6,000 per user, rupees 6,000 per year. So actually, it varies from the user to user. Okay, but as I mentioned, this particular solution is actually in its domain is the cheapest in the world.
See, when we look at other solutions, many times it is company wise, user wise, month wise, and Tally has not got any such of environment. Okay, so this is something that users can note. that whatever be the number of companies, they may operate in 3 companies or 10 companies or 15 companies. Your choice of, or rather your cost is implied only on one thing, is that what are the number of users who are going to use TallyPrime on AWS. Okay, so that is the only one cost per month, of course. But when we look at other software's cost, they are per company also many times. So that must be compared, and we must also compare with in case we install a similar kind of hardware which is having a similar kind of some functioning of backups and everything, what would that cost be? I'm sure in today's environment where I'm in Mumbai, where I'm working from, it is nothing less than 2.5 lakhs. Okay, that's the basic. And then to top on that, the cost of electricity infrastructure, the other infrastructure which I have to maintain, everything for that server. And then I will be able to give access to maybe 10 or 15 people. So that cost, along with the Windows CAL license cost, and you then compare it with the cost what Tally is providing, and you would definitely agree with what Sanjay's statement is. It is cheaper in its environment in which it is working. Okay, so when you look at hardware cost, when you look at the CAL licenses cost, if you have to do the entire setup on your own, or your TS Plus cost, okay, Enterprise Edition TS Plus cost us huge amount of money.
There's one question about centralized accounting. One company and 3 GST number in different location. So shall I generate e-invoice through one license?
You can generate invoice through one license, but if you have got 3 GSTNs in the current environment in which Tally is working, we have to create separate companies. And in the expected environment in release 3.0 and more, most likely we will have a feature which will allow you to work in one company only. So as of now, you can generate from one license only, but from 3 different companies, 3 different database. Yes, you can do it. Okay, yes. But going forward, there is a very high probability that you should be able to do it from one company also.
And with this particular solution, TallyPrime AWS, if you keep the data on cloud, so you can access it by sitting in Mumbai, and you can create or generate e-invoice for Gujarat. You can generate e-invoice for Andhra, Tamil Nadu, all the places, because it will be now the data would be available to you on the centralized server. Yes, so I'll just check. There are a few more questions.
True.
Yes. Vikas, you have raised your hand.
Yeah.
Yes. बोलिए विकास जी.
Any more questions on TallyPrime?
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेन जो है टैली सेंट्रलाइज सिस्टम में मेन प्रॉब्लम अभी तक क्या फेस कर रहे हैं हम लोग?
जी बताइए.
क्या है
मेजर इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, उसके बारे में मैं जानना चाहता हूँ. मेजर इश्यूज जो हमें फेस करने के लिए वो आ सकता है, क्योंकि अभी तक हमारे पास
आ रहे हैं. अच्छा, सेंट्रलाइज मतलब जो टैली को जो हम क्लाउड पे अभी डाल रहे हैं उसमें जो मेजर इश्यूज आ रहे हैं वो उसके बारे में आप जानना चाह रहे हैं?
जी.
ओके, इसमें एक्चुअली इश्यूज कोई अभी नहीं है मेजर. ओके, इसमें कुछ ऐसी रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं जो भी पेंडिंग है. फॉर एग्जांपल कनेक्टिंग इट थ्रू एन ओडीबीसी सर्वर. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपका कुछ एप्लीकेशन है जैसे कि बिज एनालिस्ट या फिर हॉक या फिर कोई और, जो ओडीबीसी से आपका टैली को कनेक्ट करके डेटा को एक्सट्रैक्ट करके आपको आपके मोबाइल डिवाइस पे, जो आपने थर्ड पार्टी मोबाइल डिवाइस लिया हुआ है, उसके ऊपर अगर वो आपको डेटा देता है, तो ये जो ओडीबीसी कनेक्टिविटी है ये इसमें अवेलेबल नहीं है, क्योंकि ये जो सर्वर है, द सर्वर इज प्रेजेंटली वर्किंग ऑन, द सिस्टम इज प्रेजेंटली वर्किंग ऑन Linux ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, Ubuntu Linux ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम. ठीक है, सो Ubuntu Linux ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में होने की वजह से जो विंडोज के जो एप्लीकेशंस हैं उसको हम जो थर्ड पार्टी एप्लीकेशंस हैं उसको हम बहुत धीरे धीरे इसमें लेके आ रहे हैं. Okay, so it is there in the pipeline. As if, see, there is no challenge as if, क्योंकि आप जैसे नॉर्मल टैली आप रन करते हैं.
सर, two more question I have also. वन मोर की पहली चीज, बिलिंग हम करते हैं मल्टीपल सिस्टम पे, तो बिलिंग के जो सीरियल नंबर होते हैं उसमें इश्यूज आते हैं कि फॉर एग्जांपल बिल नंबर 1 मैं जनरेट कर रहा हूँ और सेम टाइम पे अगर सेकंड यूजर यूज कर रहा है, टैली गोल्ड यूजर है हम लोग प्राइम के, तो उसमें हमने सेव कर दिया, हमें 2 नंबर मिला और उसे 1 नंबर मिला। ये तो हमें समझ में आता है कि टाइम के ऊपर डिपेंड होता है, जिसने पहले सेव किया उसे वो इनवॉइस नंबर मिलेगा। बट जो इनवॉइस हमने प्रिंट करके दे दी उसके बाद भी अगर हम बिल जनरेट करते हैं तो वो ऊपर नीचे हो जाता है, वो क्यों होता है ऐसा?
संजय, लेट मी आंसर ऑन दैट।
या श्योर।
या सो सर, आपका जो इनवॉइस नंबरिंग है ना, आप कभी भी अल्टरेशन मोड में या मतलब जैसे प्रिंट ओनली आफ्टर सेविंग, और दो चीजों का आप ध्यान रखिए, प्रिंट ओनली आफ्टर सेविंग, एंड सेकेंड थिंग एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट नंबरिंग आप ऑटोमेटिक इनटू ब्रैकेट मैन्युअल ओवरराइड, ये सिस्टम रखिए वाउचर नंबरिंग में। ये क्यों रखना है? क्योंकि अगर खाली ऑटोमेटिक रखा है आपने तो देर इज अ वेरी हाई चांस कि आपने जो इनवॉइस प्रिंट कर दिया है और उसके बाद में किसी ने बैकडेट में जाके एंट्री कर दी है तो नंबर सारे शिफ्ट हो जाते हैं, और फिर आप और मतलब आपकी टीम, अकाउंट्स की टीम खाली वही ढूंढती रहेगी कौन सा नंबर कौन सा था और आउटस्टैंडिंग किसका था। तो ऑटोमेटिक मैन्युअल ओवरराइड वाउचर नंबरिंग रखिए, दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग। एंड सेकेंड थिंग जो आपने मैंने बताया, टैली जो भी इनवॉइस प्रिंट कर रहे हैं वो प्रिंट जब तक आपका वाउचर सेव नहीं होता तब तक आप प्रिंट मत कीजिए, क्योंकि अगर आपने पहले प्रिंट कर दिया है तो वो नंबरिंग जो उसको टेंटेटिव मिला है, स्टार्टिंग में आपको नंबर व्यू करने के लिए मिला बट सेव नहीं हुआ, जैसे आपने खुद ने बोला कि जो पहले सेव करता है उसको मिल जाता है। ओके, सो अगर आपका ऑटोमेटिक मैन्युअल ओवरराइड है ना तो जो उसको सेव हुआ वही रहेगा और फिर आगे से दूसरा किसी को वो नंबर नहीं मिलेगा। ठीक है? अच्छा फ्रेंड्स, जैसे मैंने बताया था एट इनिशियल लेवल हम लोग एक केस स्टडी कर सकते हैं। लेट मी सी।
So there's one question from Mr. Raja Patori.
Yeah.
How to enter data at each branch of same company? Okay, so मैंने क्या किया है sir, for showcasing you, what I have done is I have logged in with two IDs. If you can see, this is one ID, TX Coach West, and this is another ID, Sanjay.ps, which is my ID. So this is just for your understanding. These are two logins. यहाँ पे एक कंपनी में ओपन कर रहा हूँ. Let's say I open ABC. Okay, here you can see the date of last entry is 24th May. Okay, here my tally is not yet open. I'm opening tally. So basically मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, मैं एक particular company data जो है उसी के ऊपर मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ कि एंट्री आप कैसे कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, इसको इग्नोर कर सकते हैं हम. Select from drive, D, share data. So I'm opening this segment. Okay, so now I've opened the same data. Okay, and I can make certain entry from here. This is basically you're accessing your okay. So here I go into the okay, and the CA Connect session. I change this date to, let's say, June. Okay, now my date of last entry has become 1st June here. My date of last entry has become 1st June here as well. So this entry is here. So I hope this answers your query. Yes, I think this was, I wanted to showcase for the centralized accounting using TallyPrime powered by AWS. Punit sir, are you there? Hello.
Yes, Sanjay bhai.
Sure.
Very much. So just wanted to know from the participants whether they would like to see a solution for two or three seemingly simple but it takes a lot of time. Now, based on the response, I would be able to showcase those solution. Okay. I think Mr. Saji is asking for any static IP required. Yes, Sanjay Bhai has answered. No static IP for TallyPrime AWS, no static IP is required. Okay. But
I'm
yes,
accessing it through a mobile device. I've connected it through a mobile data.
okay. Right. So we will see in case we want to, is that how a master which is created in one company is automatically created in 5 or 7 different companies. Okay, whichever has been loaded, or a purchase or a sale of one company becomes a purchase of another company. Okay, these are 2 or 3 different types of examples that I would like to showcase, but only if the attendees are interested in knowing it, how this works, because these are customized solutions not available directly. And if you want to do it directly, we need to press certain key. I will explain you that what is it which is required. But as such, would you all like to see? Please provide response in the chat. That would you all like to see? Okay, Samir Bhai says yes. What about others? There are 98 of us. Ketan Bhai, yes. Swapnesh, yes. I think majority of us are saying yes. So let me share my screen. Okay. Now, let me explain you a brief about this particular solution. Is that suppose there are 5 or in this case 6 companies which has been created, okay, which are already created in on Tally, and they all are located at one central central server. Okay, it could be TallyPrime AWS, or it could be their own server, that is VPN, or it could be third-party cloud server, which whatever it is, doesn't matter. But they all are together. Okay, and their books of accounts are open. Now, if I see in this particular thing, Millennium, Andheri, Bhiwandi, Lex, Mumbai, Thane, Vilepale, all of these companies are open. Okay, by the use of a simple TDL. Okay, one solution was designed that a ledger, many times a vendor comes in one company and the same vendor is required across multiple companies. So we will see how that is done. Okay, let me create a vendor. Yeah, Sanjay Shukla, ledger. Suppose Sanjay Shukla, expert Tally AWS, and I put it under sundry creditors, and which I am opening it in Millennium Lexus, and I am providing PAN number also. Sanjay Bhai's PAN number ACPT. Okay, GST number is not there, unregistered. Okay, and I save this. So this new ledger which was created in one company, if I go and check in other companies, Andheri, suppose, and I go in alteration mode, ledger, one second. Let me check. Spelling wrong. Sanjoy क्या था? So the spelling was wrong. It is there in the other companies also. Millennium Bhiwandi, SANJ. So this is also wrong in terms of other. This thing is that, see, in the Bhiwandi company also, the name which has come instead of Sanjay, the mistake that he did in one company, it has gone to other companies also. So as with all the things, what we may have is that something good can happen as well as something bad can happen. So we see a live example of that. You did a mistake in one company and the same mistake is extrapolated to the other companies. Okay. So we have to be careful when we are doing such kind of utility. So Sanjay Shukla, we were able to create. Okay. So this was how a master which is created in one company. This is because of a TDL which has been already loaded in this particular company. Okay. Let me also show you a simple sale and a purchase transaction. Okay. A sale in one company also moves as a purchase in another company. What are the characteristics which is required for that? Rajendra Bhai says check in Millennium Lexus. Yes, in everywhere it is open. Okay, check same ledger in Millennium Andheri. Okay, let me check in Millennium Andheri whether it is available. Yes, in Andheri, in all the companies it has been opened. The only thing is that the name was mistaken. Right. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is let us look at a sale and a purchase. Okay. How it happened? Rajubhai, it happened because of a TDL which has been loaded. Let me show you from where we have loaded this TDL. F1 TDLs. So this is where we have loaded this TDL, and because of that, this is showing. Okay, this TDL has been loaded. Because of that, it has got created. Now, what will happen in case you don't have to use TDL? Then can I copy a same master in multiple companies one by one? I think some of you might know that there is an option available in Tally that a single master can be copied one by one in multiple companies. Can somebody tell me what is that option? Swapnesh bhai, with master XML export import, yes, it can be done, but it is slightly longer process. I am expecting a shorter answer. It is on a click of button. In one click, we can copy from one company to another. Do you all wish to know how to do that?
It's not. VLOOKUP is in Excel.
So Prince Bhai says, yes, please. What about others? Okay. By the time others answer, I will show you the sale and a purchase transaction, how that solution has been designed. And then I will show you the simple default tally, how to copy from one company to another company. Okay. Now in this Millennium Bhiwandi, I am passing a sales transaction. Sales transaction. Achha.
This is stock transfer.
Yeah, we've given the name as stock transfer voucher because within the same GST it is happening. Okay, but practically the voucher type is as of sales only.
Okay.
So we are selecting the item for what we are selling. So there are multiple different types of transfers which has been provided. Now this is a stock transfer note vehicle this thing. Okay, branch purchase account we have to select. This is a tab which is given. Post voucher, yes. Okay. So from Millennium BMD, we are transferring an entry on 1st April 2022. Okay. And let us go to Millennium Thane and see whether the same entry is available or not as a purchase entry. Yes, 1 lakh rupees entry, which is there. Okay. So this is again with the help of a solution which we have designed, where we are automating certain aspects when a sale entry is happening, and the same time the purchase entry also happens. Friends, the reason for showing you such a solution was that when you are doing a centralized accounting, you can save immensely on your manpower cost. Now look at a scenario where a person who has entered a sale transaction, the stock transfer has happened from one branch to another branch. For their own practical reason, for profit and loss account or whatever reasons, they maintain different companies in Tally. And because of that, now because of this solution, they are able to minimize on their labor cost immensely. It is not just the labor cost which is minimized, it is the errors also which has got minimized to a huge extent. Because if an entry which is happening immediately is of great use, rather than somebody entering it after 7 days or 10 days, the goods have got transferred and in fact it has got sold further also and there is no transfer which has happened. Just think of a situation of that scenario and what kind of losses that could bring in. So the reason for showcasing this solution was that sales and purchase also which is happening. Okay, I hope you have liked this particular solution. Now coming back to our requirement, where we have showcased that in case the TDL is not available and you want to copy one particular ledger which is created in one company to another company. Of course, you cannot copy it to all the companies together, but there is a way out for one single ledger or for all the ledgers. Okay, but that's a risky proposition, but for single ledger, definitely for that we can do it. Okay, I will now showcase you that. Okay, first let me. Rajendra Bhai says, can this be done for outside supplier or customer? Yes, it can be done. Of course, the mechanism when we are having two companies at one place, we can work it around. But the supplier and customer, both of them are separate, so we need to way to understand it is. Neela says, like sales and purchase, will expenses paid and booked at HO on behalf of branch can also get booked? Yes, we have worked on that also. We can showcase you that, but for the moment, let me provide the details. Okay. Let me showcase, can you stop this TDL? Okay. Now this is default tally company. Okay. So in the default tally company, suppose I create a ledger. Okay. Let me create one ledger. Punit Mehta. Okay. And under sundry creditors is fine. Okay. And give an address, Opera House, Mumbai. Okay. Contact details, yes, put the mobile number 98338 61090. Okay. Now this ledger I am saving it at Millennium Thane. Okay. Now I want the same ledger in Millennium Andheri. Okay. Then how do I do it? Simple. I go to alteration mode. Alter. Punit Mehta. Here, I just have to click on one button, which is fantastic button. And please remember that this button is a very useful button. Okay. That button is called F3. F3. F3 is the button. Use F3. And if I have to select, transfer this data to Millennium Andheri. Okay. Select Millennium Andheri and Control A. Okay. So by using this, what you found, just go and check in Millennium Andheri whether you've got that ledger or not. Now this is Millennium Andheri books. Yes, Punit Mehta with this phone number. Okay. So if you have liked this feature, please put F3 as your option. Put F3 as your this thing in the chat. Yes, you have understood F3. Venkatesh, now you're getting more. I will discuss on that, how to do that as well. Okay. But first put F3. Those who have understood, put F3 in their chat. So I know how many people are actually attending. Only 2. There are 80 of us. Only 5 people have understood. Just simple F3 here. Okay. 10. Neela says we knew this. Fantastic. Neela, I'm not sure whether you knew this or not, but one more thing is that F3 can be used for vouchers as well. Not only for masters, but can be used for vouchers as well. Okay.
Right.
So if you have to copy, if there is one voucher which has been entered in one company and you want to copy the same voucher to another company, please use F3 as well. Okay.
And use Control A. You need not press enter.
True. Right. Okay. So I will come to another question of our friend, is that how to copy the entire chart of accounts. I would not suggest to do that, but unless and until the other company in which we are copying is a completely blank company. Okay. For that to happen, you just ensure firstly that all the groups, that is your chart of accounts. See, from here you can see the groups of chart of accounts. Okay. Now this is your chart of accounts. In this chart of accounts, there is one report which will help you to understand better how many groups you are having it. So ledger view, name of the ledger and under. Okay, all these groups, loans and employees under Maharashtra, this loans and employees advances, page down I'm doing credit for first copy all the groups which are there. Okay, once you have copied the groups, then in a blank company you can again use this button called F3 and then copy and paste it. Okay, but do not do it unless and until your groups are copied. So it is a fantastic feature, but it requires that group should be first copied, then the ledgers can be copied. Okay. So this is something that you all must know. Okay. And it is a fantastic feature. And how to copy group is the same way. You go to the groups. Okay. First go to all the see 28 groups which are there is there. Okay, now suppose 1905 smile is a group and you want to copy this group to the other company. Just go to this group alteration screen, F3, and select in which group company you want to create it. So create it and then save it, Control A. That's it, nothing more. First, for all the groups, you will have to do it one by one manually, I guess, because you will not be able to do it together, probably. But this is a very useful feature for all the ledgers.
How to get that TDL? People are asking.
You can communicate that to Vinod. I will give Vinod's number. So this solution was designed for one of the companies in Mumbai. Okay. So I will share Vinod's number a little later, maybe in chat box. And okay, this is a TDL. We've designed it, but at the same time, this can be designed by your own Tally developers also. Is not a rocket science. Okay, so it can be designed by the solution provider that you might have it in your city. Somebody is in Hyderabad, somebody is in Chennai, or somebody is in Mumbai. Okay, so this can be designed by anyone. It's not a big thing. You just need to know what you want. Okay, so once you are clear, the solution provider can come in. Okay, definitely I will share Vinod's number also. Okay, and as far as the payment is concerned, for expense to payment, that also I will just show you in brief. Somebody asked, I think Mila asked for that how to do it for expenses also. So that was also designed. Let me showcase that. So a bank payment has been made, okay, from one company on behalf of another company. So minimum select. So vendor name can be selected from here, or expense name can be selected to whosoever is the payment being made. So branch, the transfer entry is being done from Millennium Thane. Okay, on payment is made on behalf of Millennium Bhiwandi. Okay, right. So here the option of post voucher is been provided. So on 1st June 2022, 50,000 rupees of payment was made for insurance claim. Okay, now we will see in first June 2022. So there is a HO payment which has happened on an automated base. The check number of 123456 was happened. Check number. Okay. So insurance claim suspense account debit and to the party from where the payment was made. Okay. Similar functionality could be there for maybe okay. Right. Okay. Right. So I think this is what the things are. Sanjay, I think we've completed most of the solutions that we have been discussing, and the phone number for Vinod Bhai is 90297.
3190.
Sorry, one second.
9029 713190.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat box.
Sure. So I think we have already answered questions which had come in the chat.
Okay.
And if still any questions which are there, which you feel is unanswered, you can connect with Punit sir on his LinkedIn handle, and his number is also available on the screen. You can just take a note and you can connect with him. We know that aimtechds.in, which is the email ID of Mr. Vinod, who has created that particular TDL.
Right.
All right. So I think we can conclude this session.
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Punit sir, for sharing the important knowledge on how to manage your books of accounts in centralized and decentralized accounting, and I'm sure it will help the fraternity in a greater extent. Yes, I do agree. Thank you so much, Samir sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much, all the participants, for asking the wonderful questions and making it interactive. And with that, we are signing off for the day. And keep safe wherever you are. And have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you so much.
I just want to thank Samir Bhai specially, because I've seen, the curiosity and the level of knowledge, thirst of knowledge he has it is fantastic. And thank you, Samir Bhai, for once again coming to our Tally CA Connect session. And we'll hope this was insightful as well as interesting. And many more of us would go for TallyPrime AWS, which we've discussed as a solution, and it is really useful and fantastic. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.